let's press that button. And here we are live. This is the San Carlos Computer Club. I'm Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions, coming at you live from San Carlos in my nerd cave, because we did not have a in-person meeting today. And I apologize to anybody that was expecting it to happen. I had it on the schedule. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, I'm going to a Metal Fest in California. I'm going to go see 6 bands over 3 days. Me and my buddies are camping in an RV. And it's supposed to be Metallica, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, Tool, and Iron Maiden. There's 2 bands a night for 3 nights. And so I'm leaving tomorrow for that. And then I will be coming back to Phoenix, spending a week in Phoenix. And then I'll be back in San Carlos. And with all that going on, I started trying to put together an in-person meeting and realized it was too much for me to handle. I've got too many loose ends before I walk out the door tomorrow. And, you know, I like to do in-person meetings 100%, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get myself to get all my stuff and gear together and tested and ready to do it. This is ready to go, so we're doing a virtual meeting today. Today. And then next week will be a virtual meeting from my office, which I will need help. So I'm hoping that somebody like Cheryl might be available to be our guest host. I'll be in the office, and the reason I'll need help is they're going to need more of my focused attention because I'm showing up a day late for work. I'm begging great patience from them to allow me to work 4 days instead of 5. And so that's my plan.
Nothing on the schedule here.
All right. Just
so
let me know if anything.
What town is this, or city?
What
town or city are you going to this?
This is on the grounds of Coachella. So, and it's huge. These are mega metal bands from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and it's just going to be probably tens of thousands of people. I've never been to a concert this large. And so it's like a once-in-a-lifetime thing to see all these bands that I grew up with. And so we're pretty excited about it. But it has distracted me while I've been trying to get work done here so that I can leave and do it.
Well, let's hope an earthquake or a torrential windstorm doesn't hit you.
Yeah. Let's not let that even pass our lips. It's going to be perfect because we already know the outlook for the forecast is ridiculous. It's one of the few places that's insanely hot still. San Carlos is not one of those places. I woke up this way. You don't know this, but I'm sitting here wearing pants, which maybe you don't know, but that's not an often occurrence when we have these meetings, especially during the summer. But I'm sitting in Levi's right now. Now, don't get me wrong. After the time we're done with this meeting, I'm probably going to be peeling them off and putting a pair of shorts on because it is still that hot here. But it was cool enough this morning that I drove the kids to school wearing pants and this Batman t-shirt.
I love it.
It's great. Oh, so we were talking before I introduced us all about this Clear View AI that I was butt tressing with not being able to remember clearly all the details, but you had brought this up, Judy, from an NPR article. And this is that company that scanned the internet for blocks of data that they could get a hold of and categorized it all and associated it with people's personal information. And then they leveraged that to law enforcement people with monthly subscriptions. And they could quite literally go to this database and stick in a picture and find not only the person they're looking for, but all these other interconnections, because the database was, basically Facebook on steroids. It cropped up in the news, I want to say, probably 4 years ago, and did its news cycle, and everybody was up in arms about it. And I'm really surprised to see that it's just settled in. It's still a thing that's being That's their business. Their business is identifying people. What warrantless identification of people.
So this is exposing the secretive company at the forefront of facial recognition 5 days ago, Clearview AI.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I don't know if you see it on my screen, but I'm looking at it right now.
And this person wrote a book called, it was Kashmir Hill, and her book is Your Face Belongs to Us.
Oh, excellent.
And it was a podcast with Terry Gross on NPR, and it was like the 28th of September or something.
Yeah, it looks like this is the transcript that we found here, and you can listen to it right here. And I'm going to stick it in our
This is Fresh Air. I'm Terry Gross.
Terry Gross does this Fresh Air podcast. I'm going to put this link. This looks like really interesting stuff.
It was very interesting. While we're on the NPR subject, this one is not computer related, but it was really interesting. It was about when the Mongol horde was defeated when they were trying to take Cairo back in the 1500s, and the Mamluk slave army defeated the Tartar or the Mongol hordes. That was also on NPR. It was really interesting.
That's not sounding tech related though. Oh, hey, you've muted there, Judy. We see you're in full dialogue, but
no. I said I did preface that this is not tech related, but it was very interesting.
Okay. Oh, I forgot. I put a note in here. Did you notice the writer's strike is over and all the night shows are back on?
I still see all those funky game shows on when I'm watching in the evening.
Well, what I may have described it before, but my wife and I have a habit. We get up early for the kids, get them to school, and then have a half hour, an hour to ourselves, having breakfast and hanging out. And what we do is we watch the best clips from Colbert and Kindle and all those shows, right? We do that in the morning with coffee. And so we were pleasantly surprised to wake up this morning and go, hey, look at that. We've got a whole inventory of new stuff to watch. So that's great. So it must have been just last night that these are first shows. They were talking about how these are the first shows back since the writer's strike. And they talk about the writer's strike as have gotten a very solid deal for themselves, which is probably historic. It is probably going to shape the way that industry and streaming and how technology is shaped in the future. I listened to an interesting dialogue talking about the Switch, the gaming platform, the Nintendo Switch. Not that you guys care about the Switch at all. But they were asking this speculative question about why can't we get Disney Plus on the Switch? The Switch, Intel's platform, or not Intel, Nintendo's platform for gaming is one of the most popular platforms in the market, and it easily captures this demographic of kids that are in single digits up to their 20s, and a Disney Plus subscription on such a thing just makes a lot of sense. And this journalist goes into the deep background of the kinds of things that are involved in making those kinds of decisions. The amount of information that has to be given up to make a contract like that work. Coming from a computer mobile environment, we all tend to think of, well, it's just an app and download it. But what's happening in those circumstances is that they have a generic terms of agreement for what the App Store is providing to the producer of these services. They've got a back and forth that exists Whereas in the Nintendo platform, focusing strictly on games, they are not seeing much benefit as wading out into those waters of trying to negotiate whose privacy data you give up, at what intervals do you share watch times, which is definitely controlled by the platform in which when you watch Netflix on Samsung, it's because both Samsung and Netflix have agreed to share numbers with each other. And this is a whole marketplace of craziness from the way this guy was describing it, where these contract deals to show shows is a difficult negotiation between a number of different parties. I have digressed so far away from the main topic that I don't remember what my point was. Now you're all supposed to shout, "One of us, one of us, one of us." No? Okay. Just me, huh? Cheryl's back. Can I not?
Cheryl's back, but I'm having I switched to my HP laptop. I haven't used it in a long time, and I decided to try Google Meet on it. And it says the camera failed, and it said that Google Chrome cannot use that camera. Make sure another application is not using it, and nothing is using it. And I'm wondering if Chester had ever found out why he can't use the camera in Google Meet. So
No, I have not found out. This is the only use I have for the camera, and I just haven't bothered to have it resolved.
Yeah, so Chester's is a Windows laptop, and I think that it's probably just some settings thing for the camera, or the camera has failed. And so he's got it in a display picture mode.
But that's okay, because the camera is actually hidden anyway, because I'm using a 42-inch TV as a monitor.
Yeah. Yeah, so it just doesn't matter. And Cheryl, your iPad, it could be that you've got something running in the background that has occupied the camera. If you
no, I'm not. I'm on my HP laptop Windows computer.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the iPad. The camera wasn't available.
Nope. It worked fine on the iPad, but I logged out of that meeting, and I'm logged in on my computer. The audio is absolutely perfect, but I can't get the camera to work.
Huh, that's interesting. Now, when you go into settings, do you see the camera there listed?
Yep, and it started. It said camera starting or whatever, and then it bleeps out and says camera failed.
You might have to restart your computer just to verify it's not some stupid thing. Just something in memory that's glitched out. You don't have any other Windows, like Chrome windows open with meets in them, do you?
I don't. Well, I'm in Google Chrome.
Right. Other than the one that we're in right now, is it possible you have another Meet window open?
That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah. And actually, I don't think it would be a problem in Chrome. I think it would be a problem in another browser, but not particular Chrome. I think if it was just all Chrome, I don't think it would be a problem. Now that I think about it, when we transition over to the next Meet, many times it doesn't seem to have a problem with the camera transitioning itself. And the kind of error that you're reporting is one where something else is occupying the camera. So I would think it would have to be a completely different isolated, like it said, don't let the camera be used while you're using this particular app. There are settings for that in Windows. Camera Turn off camera access system-wide. Turn off camera access for all apps. So this is something you could just double check. In settings in Windows 10, you can go in and search for cameras, and you'll find this allow apps to access your camera. And below that, I mean, that's to turn it on. That's the default, just everything gets a chance to access the camera. And then what follows is the off and on toggle for what things are trying to access the camera and whether they should have access or not. And so you could go in here and just verify all this is working. Now, the strange thing in this world, I would suggest also maybe shut down Skype if you've got it running. I have to say I'm not having a problem. I'm running Skype almost every time we do this stuff, and this picks up my camera. But you know what? I realize now that's a horrible example because I run everything through a piece of software before it hits. So yeah, my camera is occupied with OBS, the studio software I use. This stuff that you see when we switch to my main camera here, down here in the corner where I am. This software is occupying my camera because you can see me on it. And because I'm occupying it, I cannot use it in the Meet. The Meet will get mad at me if I try and set the camera. In fact, I'll bring up the settings here. Here's the microphone, speakers, video. You can see right here I'm using OBS virtual camera. If I try to switch to my HP camera, it should get angry at me. Yeah, and it's because the camera is actually being used over here. That's my HP camera. But I can't.
I only have one choice. I only have one choice in that setting, and that's the HP.
But the problem would be consistently the same. It would be that something else thinks the camera is occupied. It thinks it's like been blocked to only be used for that. And so you might try turning off Skype. You might look for any other app that's running. And you might also, the other thing you could do is check your check your device manager to see if your camera's in conflict. Do you remember how to do that? We haven't done that in years.
I don't. Let me think. I could go to task. What do I do?
Yeah, let me put a window on screen here. At the same time we're doing this, somebody stuck this picture into our Meet today.
Yeah.
That's funny. My wife asked me why I spoke so softly in the house. I said I was afraid of Mark Zuckerberg was listening. She laughed. I laughed. Siri laughed. Alexa laughed. That's funny. So there's your start menu if you're looking at my screen. And if you click with the right mouse button on the start button, it brings up this context menu. And in there, it's got the device manager, about a third or a fourth of the way down. And if you click on that, it'll bring up a window that lists all the parts in your computer. Mine has opened up on my main, so let me bring it over here to what I'm presenting on. So this is what the device manager is looking like. And here's a camera option right here. What's interesting is that's not the camera I'm using. That's the laptop camera for me. I think my camera's, yeah, there it is, under imaging devices. So this is a great example of how a camera can appear in Windows in two different locations. And it's not duplicated. This one up here under cameras is in the lip of my laptop. And I use that as well. But this one is a USB camera that I've plugged in, and it shows up under imaging devices. So I would look for your camera, and if it's got a yellow triangle or a red flag, then there's something going on with the hardware for the camera. Still, before doing anything, I think I would reboot the computer. Just if you found something like that, I would just reboot the computer. That's the easiest thing to do to solve all problems. Reboot it, see if the problem goes away. And then if it doesn't, start troubleshooting it like I'm showing here. You can even remove that driver. You can hit this X and remove it, and the computer should re-find that on a reboot and set it up again. And if it doesn't set it up again automatically, then that's a real indicator that the hardware may be having some problem. Because
Okay.
a healthy computer should just set it up.
So I went to my start menu and it finally opened. It took me about that long since you said open the start menu and you'll find. And I don't find that device manager. I have 6 things in my start menu: power, settings, pictures, documents, and my name.
Okay. So here's my screen again. And
Yeah.
with the right mouse button, click.
Okay. Wait a minute. Dropbox. What you called it? What?
The right mouse button, not the left mouse button, but the right mouse button.
Yep.
The context mouse button. And now you should have a context menu that lists things like power options, app features, and down there you should find device manager. Right at the top, like a third of the way down.
Okay. So I've clicked with my right button and now it's slowly maybe. Oh, there it is. Finally opened. Device manager. Got it. Now it's slowly opening something.
It's churning away.
Maybe. I can't see it's doing anything, but I need to restart this thing. Anyways, we'll leave that alone.
You know what is really impressive right now, Cheryl, is you can replace that laptop with a $200 computer from Walmart right now.
I don't want to spend any more money on any more stupid computers. We've replaced too many laptops, iPads, and I'm not even thinking I need a laptop anymore. So that's where I am. I'm wondering about the Chromebook. I'm wondering if I just stick with my iPad and
Oh, did you see the Chromebook? I put it in. I think I put it in our document here. An announcement about the Chromebook. Yeah. Google's.
I'm nodding my head and I'm doing all these things and I'm saying, doing stuff like as you can see me. So
I saw you earlier. You were here with us earlier. Everything is going as planned. Excellent. Okay. Well, yeah, one of the topics that I brought today, if you've got the list of possible topics or the document of possible topics open, is something they announced today. Google has revealed the Chromebook Plus certifications program. So they're going to be building the Chrome operating system for their partners to build hardware, and the specifications to be a Chromebook Plus is a 1080p webcam, a 1080p display, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and 128 gigabytes of storage. This is what's considered a beefy Chromebook. This is about twice of everything a Chromebook is right now. So this will have an interesting effect on the market. I have to say, after spending so much time working with Chromebooks, I could totally see myself owning a $500 Chromebook with these specs, at least for 90% of what I do. I do a little bit of gaming, and so I would miss that. And they're trying to build these really high-end Chromebooks and sell them with the idea of people gaming on them. That really hasn't happened yet. I think by beefing up some of these stats, it's going to end up happening. But right now, it's not a platform that people game on. They still do it on Windows. And so that part would be missing from my life. But there isn't much else. I guess this OBS stuff that I'm doing right now with you guys, where I like to record and stream our meetings, that's available on Linux, Macintosh, and Windows, but I have yet to see any of it happening on a Chromebook. So that'll be missing. But they've announced new features that would be expected from the new operating systems, and this system requirements. And what this means is that we're going to have some pretty powerful computers at very reasonable prices. I'm thinking that most that would fit into the low end of this. You see, I don't know if you guys notice the significance here, but i3 Intel Core processor or higher, or AMD Ryzen 7000. These are mainstream processors. These aren't low budget processors built for Chromebooks. These are mainstream Intel and AMD processors. So this is significant jump in something that was already very performative. So this could be pretty exciting for the Chromebook platform. I do so much stuff in Google Workspace now. I'm really considering I should get one of these $500 Chromebooks. At least meet these requirements. Maybe when these start coming out on the market, I'll be paying attention to the reviews. And because the other thing that, what's interesting if you read this article, and I didn't realize this till reading the article, is that one of the things that they were getting asked about when interviewed was battery life. And Google's representative made this flat statement saying that Chromebooks have a specification of 10 hours or more of better battery life. So our vending partners would adhere the same standard to this Chromebook Plus standard they've just announced. So that's pretty impressive if they can figure out how to get 10 hours out of a Ryzen 7000 or an i3 equivalent Intel processor. That's something they can't do on Windows right now or on Linux. Apple's doing that with their Mac OS, but Microsoft's not doing that with Windows. 10 hours, even if it was just, what I like is how my kids use it. It's like a 10-inch tablet with a keyboard. They can watch videos on it, read books on it, draw on it. These Samsungs they have built-in styluses, so I probably mentioned before, Viviana is quite an artist. She likes to draw on her tablet. Anyway, if you're looking for Chromebooks, a Chromebook is a really decent. I told you guys the story of working on a stack of Chromebooks. Did I talk about that last week? I was just amazed how quickly I could, as long as things were in the cloud or on a USB drive, it's like, I don't know, 20 minutes to restore a Chromebook to fresh, completely up to date. It seems like a no-brainer for those folks that don't want to have to know anything about a computer. They just want to use it. If you spin your whole world in the Chrome operating system. I did also bring some articles that I thought were kind of funny about the new iPhone 15. I don't know if anybody looked at these things, or has anybody brought any of their own story. Please interrupt me if you have questions or stories you would like to bring to this meeting. I'm going to throw this in the background because it's confusing.
I have a movie.
Well, Chester, why don't we save it towards the end? We'll do some recommendations as we get down to about an hour of it into it, as we're signing out of here. Bill, you had some stuff to add?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm having a curious problem with Stremio. I'm trying to watch the series called Gotham.
Okay.
And there's another series called Gotham Knights. And when I attempt to watch Gotham, I can get one or two episodes to run, and when I go to the next one, I select a torrent, and Gotham Knights comes up. I'm busy. I'm in Gotham, and we're trying to work my way through it, but I get kicked over to the other series, and it takes a bit of fooling around before I get back to the series I want to watch. It keeps wanting me to watch Gotham Knights. I can't figure out what's going on there.
Well, yeah, but obviously what's going on is a confusion in the software about the way that they have named these files. and maybe fingerprinted them, because it seems like so much of this stuff is fingerprinted now. So like a system like Streamio, I honestly have not read about the inner workings of it, but the way peer-to-peer sharing works is that you're not reliant on the name of the file. You're reliant on the fingerprint of the file. So the name on your computer for that file could be completely wrong for the name of the file on my computer, if you follow what I mean. So I could have that same, let's take the episode you just watched of Gotham. I could have it sitting on my computer, and I could have done some automated process where I have inadvertently named that file Gotham Knights. It's Gotham. You've just watched the exact same file, but my copy of the file has inadvertently gotten the wrong name put on it. And so when this happens, something is providing the IMDb or the movie database is providing your interface with that information. It's providing you with Gotham, the breakdown of the episode, the date it was released. All of that is being given to you from this third party out there, like IMDb or the movie database or the TV database. There's a number of them out there. And so that information actually is only being correlated with the files that are being found using these websites and peer-to-peer networks. They're taking the information. Streamio is making an intelligent decision off of your search results to create its search results for those services. If you follow what I mean, it's acting as like a middleman. It's taking what you found on these third-party database sites, and it's making an intelligent decision of what it should use there to do its searches on peer-to-peer networks. And don't be confused. The name matters when it comes to search results in peer-to-peer, because you can't search on fingerprints. The fingerprint's just ones and zeros. There is no way to put in the ones and zeros and say, I want this file. The only way to correlate these things is with the name. And so you've got this middleman that's pulling search criteria from that database, and it's spitting it into this technology that peers to peer or pulls it off of a website using that name. And what's coming back are these false positives because of inventory and interpretation errors. All I can say to fix it is make sure you're using the latest version of Streamio, because this stuff happens all the time, and they're always working against those kinds of problems. It's part of the quality of the software. So always make sure you've got the latest version of Streamio, and that the plugin that you're using is one that you can configure. I imagine you're using that Torrentio plugin, and so you might even uninstall and reinstall that. But in the end, all you can really do is be very clear on the file names you're looking at. And even still, depending on, in peer-to-peer, one of the things that'll happen is a lot of clients will get the wrong file name associated. One person gets it wrong, and a dozen people downloads it, and now there's a dozen versions of that file that have the wrong name on it, and it gets caught up in these searches.
Okay, so basically the only fix it would be to update Streamio and maybe
reinstall the torrent.
Reinstall the Torrentino.
Right,
okay?
right. And
I'll
if
give it a try.
And then the Torrentino plugin actually gives you some configurations, like you can specify you don't want cam videos, you don't want, and so there's a certain amount of filtering in the plugin that could help you with file name problems. If you just recognize like this is only happening on these particular files, then you could reinstall that plugin with that type of filtering to just block them from coming up in your search.
Yeah. The problem is that this is the very first time I've ever run into this. I've never had that problem before. Anyway.
Yeah, I would definitely make sure you got the link. I've discovered the other day I had an older version of Streamio and updated it, but I wouldn't have known that except I'm me. I just start looking through things. I'm like, hey, I wonder if they've got a new version, and sure enough, they did.
Okay, so I got one other comment. It's to do with the Scriptwriter Actors Guild strike.
Oh yeah.
I made a prediction for Cheryl the other day, and I'm not sure the length of the prediction, but when AI generation comes to a point, the actors are scared of being used, their image being used. I think what's going to happen is the film industry is going to figure out that they can create their own actor, promote the hell out of him, and use him / her anywhere they want. They don't need the real people anymore.
Max Headroom. They can make their own Max Headrooms, running around selling products, and they're not even real people. You know, they've already got it. We've been watching those on Instagram for the last year, more than a year.
But the thing is, the technology hasn't quite got there to make this look absolutely realistic. But think of everything you get rid of. You get rid of the whole movie industry. Yeah, all of the people who work on sets, everybody is gone, and it's going to happen.
Well, and
That's
it actually,
my prediction.
Yeah, Bill, you're not wrong. It's happening right now. There are series of movies. I can think of particular Final Fantasy movies, which are all CGI, but photorealist interpretations of characters. It's the uncanny valley. They've gone just a hair below it. So, and you go into it knowing these are CGI characters, but we have a generation of people that is going to be okay. They're gonna completely. I mean, they already do. They completely relate to that kind of, and so that fuzzy line to jump over you're talking about. The moment that happens, there's a complete market for it. Because they're already out there. We're already in that right now. It's just raising up the resolution.
What I'm saying is that the human part of the industry is going to price themselves so high enough that it's going to become completely legitimate or cost effective to do the whole thing in the computer. And once it gets absolutely realistic, so you can't tell the difference, it's not going to make any difference to me. I'm not one of those people that are used to CGI games and movies, but if I can't tell the difference, well, what do I care?
Yeah, I guess my point is those studios already exist. Those technologies are already in place. So it will be like flipping a switch. As soon as that resolution moves up that notch, that's
what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not going to be a growth into it. We've already grown into it, and we're just waiting for that last piece to fall into place. And that's absolutely what's going to happen. And it'll probably change the way movies are marketed and the kind of sentiment that's felt about the production, real live action versus CGI. These characters that never actually exist, that exist in our world virtually.
Well, just think your actors don't age.
But, this writer's strike, and this was a writer's strike. It wasn't an actor's strike, and actors have to worry about their own contracts. I heard a commenter saying this morning that the directors had already worked out their agreement with the streaming giants before this writer's strike, and they were sitting fairly well. This writer's strike had such a dramatic effect on Hollywood, they have ended up with a much better deal than the directors got. And I think that's what it's going to end up coming down to is your actors are going to struggle. They're going to be in very specific pieces and get the writers. You still have to have content, whatever it is, whether it's a video game, whether it's a TV show, movie. you know, a YouTube series, you still have to have content. You have to have people writing that stuff, and that's what Hollywood was suffering from. They couldn't make anything because they didn't have anything to make.
Well, the AI is going to take over the writers as well. They're going to take it all over.
Well, part of their deal, and I'm definitely not well read in this, but that's one of the headlines that you're seeing people promote. The people that are praising this resolution said they got protections against AI, which is exactly what the studios said in the beginning they would never get.
Well, what I remember is two different places where the unions finally disappeared. When they stopped putting cabooses on trains, the conductor was the person who basically managed the train. And there was another one. There was another guy at the back, or a fireman when they had steam trains. There are no firemen. They kept them around for quite a while, but there are no firemen. There are no conductors anymore. There's a little box at the back of the train that says everything's okay with the train. That's one of the jobs they used to have to do, but they're gone. Now in the movie theaters, the projectionist used to be one of the most important people. He was a very well-trained technician. They don't exist
I was a
anymore.
projectionist. Just a side note, I was a projectionist for many years.
Yeah, and you had some very specific skills to run those big reels of film. Now there's just a projector up there hooked up to the internet, and they just push a button in some office someplace, and the movie starts, basically.
Yep.
And even opens the curtains for you.
I was a projectionist during that. We would put this stuff called sensing tape on the film, and as it ran through micro switches, it would change masking levels and lighting, set stereo levels, and you just had to program it correctly.
Yeah, you were at the tail end of the projectionist be in control of the whole movie, where
or at the beginning of complete automation, digital automation.
Yes. Yeah, you were transition. That's what you were.
Yep.
Anyway, that's my two comments for the day. I'm done.
All right. How are we doing as far as this meet? We've still got 9 minutes until this one shuts down. We have been going for just under 50 minutes. Are you guys interested in any more of these topics that I have brought with me? Because I will talk about those. There is, as I was starting to say earlier, there are a couple of iPhone 15 things that I thought were funny, that I thought you might find funny. I mean, funny as in odd and ha-ha. There is a really strange problem. In fact, I guess this is a PSA to BMW owners, that they're finding that if you are using the wireless charging built into your BMW to charge the iPhone 15, that the 15 will go into a data restore mode, and when it comes back on, the NFC chip will be broken. There's a lot of speculation about what this might be, because right alongside this problem is a problem that people are reporting, that the 15 is overheating, which in itself is a controversial issue. Did you want to add something?
I find that even if I use my charging in my car, and it's a Ford, it's not a BMW, my phone is really hot, so I don't ever use it.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there is some heat to expect from a phone, especially during charging, which is the worst case scenario, because when you're changing the battery, charging is changing the way the chemistry is. When you're doing that in heat, then you're really doing damage to that battery. I mean, over time, that's how things get old and worn out, is when the ideal circumstances is you're charging slowly and the battery has no heat dissipating. So
Well, it's a very, very slow charge in my car, so I prefer to just plug it into the USB port or whatever it is. So,
yeah, I think no matter how you're charging it, I think the things you need to be concerned about is heat. Like charging and using the phone at the same time. If you're finding that that's creating enough heat that you can feel it, that's not a healthy way to charge. Over it, it will shorten the lifespan of the battery. Let me say that. As you use it while it's heated up, if you're charging while it's hot, it's going to do damage over time to the battery, and eventually the battery will have less life. We've got
that's all well and good, but when you're driving down the highway and you need to charge your phone and you're using your phone, it's not an option.
Right. No, I'm not. Are these actionable things to know? I mean, sometimes
Yep.
there is, like when it's sitting there right next to you and it's just sitting there trickle charging, and you put your hand on it and it's hot. What's it doing? Maybe I should just unplug it. Maybe I should turn it off and let it cool down for a little bit, because this is just not a normal. No manufacturer, if it was sitting there doing nothing, no phone manufacturer would want it to be hot while it's charging. In fact, the iPhone works really hard to try and sort out when's a good time to charge the phone so that it's not hot. And the hot issue that is in the background of the issue I was just sharing with you has sparked all of this debate over it's in spec, and so it's not a problem. And when you first get a new phone, like you first get your new iPhone, it's very common for it to spend some time really hot as it's synchronizing your data and installing applications you use, and you're just kind of, getting it all set up, and there's a lot of activities happening all at once, and so it will get warmer than typical use would cause it to have. Of course, unless your typical use is playing like 3D action games, because that always results in a lot of heat. Anyway, what's interesting about this is that this phone is coming back on after sitting on the charger of BMWs specifically, and the NFC chip is not working, which means it can no longer do Apple Pay or identify with other devices in short distances. This near field communication, and it's not clear yet whether it's a software glitch or if it's a hardware glitch. Coupled with the heat, the speculation is maybe the heat has crippled the NFC chip. Apple's only statement is this is all as far as the heating goes. I'm sorry, I don't think they have a statement on the BMW thing yet. But as far as the heat goes, the iPhone should be operating within spec, even though they're warm, and anything like that, like breaking a chip, is unlikely, because they did find. I'm sorry. As far as the heat goes, they did find a glitch in their software, which they're going to be putting out a patch that will alleviate some of the heat issue. It would be interesting to find out later if they're just governing their new chip, like they let it go out a little bit too high performance for their design, and so the software fix might be saying, let's rein it in a little bit, dial it down a little, make it a little slower so it won't get as hot. They didn't, of course, it's Apple, they don't go into details about what's wrong, so we can only speculate. I saw Judy giving me the 3-finger move. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Why don't we just move over to that meeting now? And I'll meet you guys on the other side. I'm shutting down this meeting for everybody. And starting it up for you guys over here. We get everybody? There's Bill. Cheryl coming back to us, Bill?
I don't know. She's in the other room. She's kind of quiet.
She might have taken this as an opportunity to restart her computer.
I'm going to go check on her, make sure she's healthy.
So Scott, are you still here?
I'm still here.
So is the humidity really bad while we're waiting for them, or is it going away as well?
It's going away as well. I mean, it's
Great.
still, it's so much, you know, it's always worse than anywhere else you could be.
No. Nah.
I mean, I'm just saying that, like, even when I say it's going away, it's still higher than you want it to be.
Okay, Cheryl's just trying to get back in. She's fighting with her laptop. She wants to play games or something on her iPad, so she won't use it.
Well, she's got her priorities straight.
She certainly does.
I'm gonna go on because the next article that I brought that I found kind of humor. I mean, it's not funny that it's breaking a phone, but it is kind of funny that it's breaking when the other phones didn't break in the same situation. It seems like an Apple problem. So the other thing that's these new phones is that it's got this weird USB charging problem. Apparently, if you connect your iPhone with a USB-C cable, sometimes it won't charge because it won't be recognized. Oh, there's Cheryl. Let's let her in. Hello, Cheryl. Hey, and you've got a camera this time. Just so everybody knows, there she is.
This is the third piece of technology. This is the telephone.
All right. The best so far, I think. So I was...
And it probably in about 10 minutes, I'm going to have to drop off because my plumber just texted me and he's on his way.
Oh, all right.
Good thing.
And Judy, you're getting out of there before too much more snow?
Monday.
Monday? Safe
Yep.
travels.
Thank you.
Will you be on the road next Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be headed from Los Lunas, New Mexico to Green Valley.
Ah.
All right. I'm going to finish this real quick. The funny part of this story is in one experience with an Ankler, I think it was an Ankler, charging base. Yeah, Ankler. An Ankler power bank. A power bank, like a battery power bank where you'd plug things in to get a charge. Like say your phone is dying and you're carrying this power bank around so you can recharge the phone. So in this case with the iPhone actually charged the power bank. So it drained the phone's electricity into the power bank and started instead of recharging the phone. Now they say that one of the features that iPhone has is this ability to reverse charge, and they think this is an issue with that. That the phone can actually do things like charge earbuds or Apple Watches. So if you had a full charge on your phone, but you needed a charge on your watch, you could connect to them in a manner and pass some of that battery over to the other device. and they're thinking it's because of this feature that this has happened. It's just kind of funny that it would charge the battery it's trying to get a charge from. And then I was reading through some of the commentary about this kind of thing. Oh, looks like I've frozen for some reason. I don't know why I'm frozen. Am I frozen with you guys? Yes, I am. I don't know what
Your voice isn't, but
I know, but my
the
video
picture's
is. That's
not,
really weird.
yes, it's not moving.
I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, I'm not going to let that stop me. Weird. Or I am apparently. Activating. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'm going to just keep talking through it. The commentaries like turn the cable around literally fixed the problem, so it would charge the other direction. And these are other people's commentary on experiences that they've had like this. And apparently this is not a problem if you use a USB-A cable. And so if there's a USB-A cable that's plugged in, you can charge just fine. It's one direction. Anyway, I found all that very humorous. Because not only we're reaching the end of our meeting, but I'm obviously having some technical glitches here. Why don't we go ahead and get into recommendations and get out of here, because we're at the end here. Does anybody have any recommendations? Chester had mentioned he had a movie.
Yes, I have a movie. It's a Netflix movie. And I thought it was so good, I watched it twice. Forgotten Love.
Okay.
We are
And
back.
where did you see that?
Netflix. Somebody, is that you, Paul? Who's somebody's? That's got it. Paul, could you mute, please? Thank you, sir.
Judy, it's around the 1910 era.
Great.
On
Okay.
Netflix.
The basic story is a surgeon who has amnesia.
Hmm.
It's
It's
really a wonderful story.
movie. It's just released.
Say again?
It's a 2023 movie. Like it's just released.
Maybe so. I think that's correct. Or anyway, it's recently on Netflix.
Recently on Netflix. Forgotten Love. I've added it to our movie list. Anyone else have a recommendation for today's meeting?
I saw the Dolly Parton history movie on Netflix.
Oh, a documentary on Dolly Parton.
Yeah. It was very good. I learned a lot.
You remember what it was called?
I'm sure Dolly Parton was part of it. It wasn't that blonde country singer was not the title.
Yeah, she's very creative. I've seen that before.
Yeah, I mean, her songs are amazing. So good. I mean, her favorite song is "Coat of Many Colors," and that's the favorite that I have of her singing too.
Did you say it's on Netflix?
It certainly is on Netflix.
All right. You and I just. Oh,
I
go ahead.
watch YouTube. I watched YouTube a lot on the TV.
Well, you and I just watched the movie that has Martin Freeman in it, and oh, what's her name? Marina Baccarin, called Ode to Joy. It's a 2019 romantic comedy about a guy who passes out with narcolepsy when he feels extreme emotions, very specifically happiness. So Martin Freeman plays somebody that has spent most of his life attempting to live a mediocre life of joylessness so that he can participate. Because every time he has a happy emotion, he passes out and falls asleep. So we were halfway through this movie and we were really enjoying it. And I remembered that this is a real sleeper. This is a movie that he did that they thought it was going to get a lot of attention, and it didn't. It just kind of fizzled out. It's on Prime, and it's called Ode to Joy.
Oh.
And we were enjoying it so much, I was surprised to remember that. And then we hit the end, and the last quarter of the movie is kind of disappointing compared to how much fun we had at the beginning of the movie. And so take it with a grain of salt, but I think it's worth watching because we were laughing out loud and having a lot of fun with the movie. It's just the end, it just kind of fizzles out. It's just not, and as you can imagine, as a romantic comedy, there's a dozen tropes to a romantic comedy, and they pulled off a lot of those. They did a lot of the same things you'd find in just about any movie of that caliber. So these are actors that are pretty well acclaimed in roles that just about anybody could play. So that wasn't impressive either. But the movie itself was really funny. We really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's a real thing. I haven't bothered to Google the condition to see if it actually exists. Narcolepsy exists, absolutely. There are people out there that... But the idea that you could be narcoleptic, you could have an episode because you have an extreme emotion like happiness. In the movie, they explain it could be anger, or it could be like resentment or frustration. In his case, though, it happens to be joy. Well, guys, I don't have anything else. Shout out if you do, but I think I'm ready to bring this to an end for this week's meeting.
Well, we continue our Tuesday night Ashoka and Murders in the Building, but I think that this must be the last week for both of those.
I think so.
I think we're at the end of that. And then I've been binging Bosch. I had never heard of Bosch, and I kind of saw a season something rather. Anyway, so I went back and I found season 1, and I've moved myself up to season 5 now. And I saw an ad, and it says Bosch The Legacy, and it's after he retires. So I don't know how many more seasons I have to go. But Bill calls it binge butt.
Binge Bosch.
Binge Bosch butt. My butt is frozen.
Oh.
Sitting on it for too long.
And I'm still watching.
Want to start Billions, but as Chester has told me how many billions of episodes I have to catch up. So.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see because we're going to go through like a COVID wave of TV shows after this writer's strike.
That'll be good. Won't be on next week. I'll be traveling. So see you all 2 weeks.
Okay.
Bye. And maybe in person, Scott.
And maybe in person. That's right.
Yeah.
And as far as next week, like I said, I'll be in the office, but we'll still be trying to have the meeting, and Cheryl will be our host. Thank you, Cheryl. And we'll meet next Tuesday. Until then, everybody, tech on.
Okay, we're going to have our happy Thanksgiving weekend, probably turkeyless. But anyways, we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Well, that was it. We did it again. I do not know why OBS decided to crap out on us right there before our, as we were going through the last article and getting into reviews or recommendations. The recommendation that was missed was on the recording was one made by Chester, a new film called Forgotten Love on Netflix about Poland in 1910. He was recommending, if you guys were curious what that was, and then I think he caught just about everything else there. That's what we were talking about. I am going to power trip, but it won't interrupt any of these meetings that we're having. But I am gone tomorrow, working in Phoenix next week, and I'll be back in the Nerd Cave. But we'll do it in person starting the 17th. So join us then or next week when Cheryl's in charge. Until then, everybody, tech on.